What's good, family? So mash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell. So, if you man, in fact, you know what? Let me run through what's been going on for the last few days. My dad, Chris Eubank, who I just got off the phone with a few hours ago, about 3 days ago now, called out Billy Ho Saunders and said, "Listen, Billy Ho, I want you bad, yeah? I want to be the next one after Alvarez." After the YB, to have a quick go on you. Yeah, you old nag. That's what Chris Eubank said. Anyway, a few days later, Chris Eubank comes out again and says, "Listen, I spoke to Billy Joe and he's demanding $5 million because he don't want no problems with your man's Chris Eubank Jr." Now, that was the current status of where we got left to. Chris Eubank obviously just finished filling me in on the latest. Now your man's Billy Ho has broken his silence. Yeah, he's broken his silence and clapped back at your man's Chris Eubank Jr. and he said the following: "Chris, you never won a world title because you're SHIT. You got 75 grand last time we boxed and your dad took 30. Bum. I'm your payday, little boy, and you may never get a chance to get that W back. Boxing bin men." So there you go, you've heard that from Billy Ho. Now, I hate to break it to you, but in my last video, where I reacted to Chris Eubank's comments, I gotta tell you that I did say I wasn't confident that Billy Ho has any intention on making this fight, bottom line. I mean, it's not rocket science, but when we heard that he wanted £5 million, $8 million, that was a big red flag. Because for me, I've always been along the lines of, if someone wants to fight you, and they're even half serious about making it, just call it 50-50, no? Because 50-50 means that whatever we make, we're going to get half. Can't really argue with that. When you put a number on it, well, the fight might not make. For example, if you want £5 million, and the fight only makes $6 million, how's that going to work? It's not realistic. But when you say 50-50, at least then that means, you know what, whatever me and you can, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's two men generating revenue for a fight. We're going to split half and half. You can't really argue with that, can you? But when you put a number on it, there's no telling that you're going to make that much money. Now, to be fair, it may go the other way, which is my point. If you focus on the percentage, then that means you want the fight. Now, obviously, there have been, I'm sure there'll be goofies listening to this saying, "YB, but when Fury said he wanted 50% against AJ, well, you know what? Guess what? AJ ended up giving it to him anyway, but you know what? Let me focus on this for now. There'll be no talk of no percents. Now, maybe getting into the minutiae here, maybe it's irrelevant, but the reason I tell you about how I feel Billy Ho's pricing himself out is some of the language he's using here. It's quite, what's the word? I'm not sure what you'd call it, but this quote here where he says, "You may never get your chance to get that W back." It's almost like he's a child saying, "No, no, 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 I'm never going to give you it back." So it's that proper Billy Ho here, I hate to break it to you, he has fully adopted and assimilated his character as a bottom, as a sub. Do you understand? Billy Ho is 100% a beta sub bottom right now. He's got no oomph in him, has he? He's got no alphaness in him. He's got no dom in him. He's got no top in him. If he did, he'd be saying, "Listen, Chris, who are you calling me a quitter for? Yes, I may have jacked to Canelo, but I'll have a go on you any day of the week. Let's get it. 50-50, me and you. Let's rock." When he said that, yeah? Oh, nowhere. Instead, he's a beta bottom sub. And he's saying, oh, well, you know, no, like a child in a nursery ground. No, I'm never going to give you the chance to get your W back. I'm never going to give you a chance to get the L, to reverse your L. That is beta.com, and it's actually, it don't make a difference to me, but that kind of thinking for a man who calls himself a fighting man, is the most beater thing you can do. Oh, I beat you once. It's a bit like Tyson Fury nicking belts and running off. It's amazing, these bare-knuckle champion dons. They talk about being true fighting men, but what is a true fighting man about nicking a fight which, by the way, it was a nick. I don't care what no one says. Billy Ho nicked that win. It wasn't like it. Fair enough, yeah. If he absolutely dominated him, then you can say, well, you know, he dominated him. But he didn't. It was a draw, in my opinion. Bottom line, it was a draw. That fight was a draw. As close as you can get. Now, a true fighting man would say, you know what? It was a close fight. If you want, next time I'll really push your wig in for you. That's what a true fighting man would do. Or even a fair man. Never mind a true fighting man. A fair man, just a bottom line average fair man would say, you know what, Chris? If you want me to push your wig in more properly next time, let's run it. What they wouldn't say is, I got a close win over you, and I'm going to run away with that now. Because I don't dare risk... Don't dare risk it going the other way. That's not a man who believes in himself. Well, unfortunately, Mark Tibbs has already told us. Mark Tibbs said, about a month ago now, I didn't get the feeling Billy Ho Saunders really believed in himself. And it's amazing how life works, but what's going on here, we're getting confirmation after confirmation that Billy Ho Saunders has no belief in himself. And he's a textbook version of a bottom. Yeah, a textbook version of a sub. A textbook version of a beta sub bottom. No doubt. He should be saying, you know what? Yeah, I've just had a tough fight with Alvarez, but I know for a fact I'll have a go on Chris Eubank, no problem. Why? Because I'm a fighting man. Why? Because it's about time I earned back some of my pride. I earned back some of my strength. Some of my intestinal fortitude. Oops. He ain't got no intestinal fortitude. He don't want nothing to do with it. And I hate to break it to you. The £5 million request, that was a red flag, but this for me is never going to happen. I'm your payday, little boy, and you may never get a chance to get that W back. Who does that? Just for a minute, yeah, just think about the thinking. Think about the mindset a man has to be in for that to be on the tip of your tongue. Okay, you beat someone, they want a rematch. Wouldn't even mind so much, yeah. Let's say Chris Eubank was completely washed, and this fight, Billy Ho Saunders was only going to get paid 500 grand. I'd say, well, you know, I kind of get it. Regardless of how close the fight was, Billy Ho Saunders don't really want to get out of bed for 500 grand. But the fact that this is genuinely the biggest fight, we're talking, I think Billy Ho may actually end up making $5 million. Or even, maybe even, I don't know, maybe even, my point is, it's not going to be far off that amount. But for sure, this is the biggest fight Billy Ho could be doing. And not once has he actually said, not once, yeah. All we've heard from Billy Ho, yeah, has been stupid demands and stupid comments. Distancing comments. Oh, I'm never going to give you the chance to get a W back. That's not... Never once have we heard, you know what, Chris? I'm sick of you talking. I'm going to fill you in. Don't care about the money. And again, people will say, YB, you know, it's boxing, it's all about the money. Well, not... Again, you dopies don't really get what I'm trying to say here. We all know it's about the money. But the money's going to be there, is my point. Billy will know the money's going to be there. Billy will know there's no other fight that's going to pay him any more. So, given that he knows that, why is he focusing on the money? Well, we know why, as I've explained before. Because you focus on the money when you ain't got no intention. And I bet you any money, you watch, if Chris Eubank manages to pay him 5, it'll change. 100%. It always does. But even without worrying about the money part, his attitude, forget about the money. What's the next thing Billy Ho Saunders has defaulted to? Maybe I'll just, regardless of the money, maybe I'll just never give you the chance to get your W back. Maybe I'll just, F the money, maybe I'll just try and psychologically troll you. That's what's on the tip of this guy's tongue. That's what's going through this man's mind. Which is essentially, he don't want nothing to do with Chris Eubank. That's what he don't want. Because he knows in his prime, before Alvarez turned him out, before Alvarez gave him some good old prison loving, some jail loving on the jail floor in the shower, some good old jail loving on the shower floor, before that, he barely got a draw. And a few more rounds, people were saying, yeah, a few more rounds of that fight, and Chris Eubank was going to knock Billy Ho Saunders out. That's what the talk of the town was at the time of the fight. Because Billy Ho Saunders' legs, them last 5 rounds, Chris Eubank had rode the old nag's legs in. Yeah? The old nag, Billy Ho, he weren't feeling too fresh. 100%. So Billy Ho Saunders knows now, wait there a minute. Canelo Alvarez has just given me some real good old prison loving for 8 rounds. I ain't going to have no legs left if I go in there with Chris. So I'm better off just trying to take the sneaky, goofy road. Oh, nah, I've got UW. Wow. This is the state of boxers, by the way, people. This is the state. And this is why, by the way, people say to me, YB, you got to give people respect for getting in the ring. And YB, how dare you? You've never been in the ring. And YB, this, that, the other. YB, you're not a fighting man. YB, you never did this, you never did that. So you wait there a minute. You want me to respect people who, when confronted, when Chris Eubank's been punking Billy Ho, and in the face of being punked and being called out, his response is, oh, I made us run around forever. I made us run away forever and never fight you. Wow. This is the state of boxing. Before, people would tromp at the chance of it. You know what? If he wants to go, let's get it. Now, and that was almost regardless of the money. Back in the 70s and that, people would get it, not really bothered about the monies as such. Now, even when the money's there, as it is in this situation, still, oh no, F the money, F the $3-4 million. What we know for a fact is, Eubank and Billy Ho, they're going to get $3-4 million guaranteed, in my opinion. So, F the $3 or $4 million guaranteed, I made us run off and keep UW. Wow. Even with $3-4 million, he still don't want to fight. That's how scary your dude is. Instead, he wants to drive around with his shirt off, looking super sus, with a whole bunch of dudes in the car, trying to be a hard ass again. Billy, rather than cutting up learner drivers on your Snapchat, why don't you get in there with Chris Eubank? Because what we know is, Billy Ho Saunders and his people are down bad right now. Super bad. And I'm actually quite disappointed, yeah? I'm mixed race, but when I see people from my culture do bad, yeah, I call it out. But why ain't there no bare knuckle champions calling it out, saying, Billy, Chris Eubank is getting off all over you right now. Chris Eubank, stay getting off on you. How are you sitting there talking about you're going to run off and retire without fighting him again? What's going on here? But instead, because of money and fame, you bare knuckle dons just stay shilling. Yeah? You man are more or less OnlyFans dons. 100%. You bare knuckle champions who say nothing. You're just signed up to Billy Ho Saunders OnlyFans. Simp cuck dons. And you're simping and cucking for a sub-bottom beater. Yeah? Your man Billy is a bottom. And people like the YB, people like Chris Eubank, we tops. How do we know this? Because we stay hanging at the back of Billy Ho Saunders. No doubt.